Good afternoon, Lagos. Welcome to another wonderful episode of the Sunday Show. It's the first weekend where a lot of Lagosians are resuming their jobs, their offices, their businesses, and we can gradually see the city of Lagos returning to the way we know it to be. The traffic is back, a lot of activities here and there. We thank God for it. Today we'll be talking about marriage. We'll be talking about marriage. We'll have a lot of exciting things to talk about in that regard. And then not forgetting, I know we are all in a very good mood today. In fact, from yesterday evening up to this morning, the Super Eagles of Nigeria, they united Nigeria once again. Lovely scoreline, impressive victory. Congratulations to the Super Eagles. And in that regard, we're also not forgetting one of the important aspects of this show, important aspects of the episode, keeping fit, keeping healthy. Right here, I have Nyama, aka T-Fit, and he's going to be putting us through one other way we should be keeping fit, be keeping in top shape, knowing how it is. But before that, we're going to go on a short break, and when we come back, T-Fit will put us through it.
Odogwa kataka eze bi n'elu ogodo ya na-akpụ n'ana otu onye a na-asụ na abịala omemgbe ike gburu dibịa akpa aza lion of Judah, Holy Ghost power, Jesus Christ, Almighty God, you. I can make you hallelujah, I can make hallelujah, you are the Lion of Judah, you are the Lion of Judah, you are the miracle working, you are the God of Elijah, you are the God of Ezekiel, you are the God of Moses. I can make you hallelujah, I can make.
Oh my yes! Yes, I don't need to say too much. Just watch. Yesterday. That's all we popped there. But you know what? Would have given them plantain. Maybe Algeria would have scored one. Still on the matter! Still on the matter! Oh my God! I'm feeling that mood. But intelligently, warm up just ended. Still on the matter! Super Eagles! Oh, God bless you now! God bless you now! Is that? Yeah, let's get straight to work. We got to continuously beat more Super Eagles. We need to carry that cup. If we are Okay, we're gonna be sitting down. We made them sit down yesterday. 2-0. Look, 1-0, 2-0. So we are gonna be doing a shoulder press right now. A shoulder press. One more strength from Super Eagles. Oh yeah, pop it up. One down. You know, this is an upper body movement. We need muscle to burn fat. I know you want to burn fat. You're just coming back from all the whole chop taste. Now you have. We just got that in. We are going to combine this with a movement. The Super Eagles, their leg must continuously they strong. We are going to do a long leg extension. This one is a big technique. Just watch what will happen. In 20 seconds, long leg extension. You know the posterior chain muscle, they are very vital. They pop and they go. 1-4-0 against Morocco. Over 20 seconds. I'll show you a technique here. Super Eagles, you must use this. I'll turn around and you see what is happening here. This is your large muscle group, the gluteus muscle maximum. You go catch fire. Super Eagles, make sure you give them immediately change on your leg. They squeeze a goal. It is all about science. If you know me too well, I like science. And that is why you have to hear. You have to be here to watch the Sunday show. Yeah, I have time. You don't have too much time. So I want to catch one because of yesterday. So we are going to take our heart rate up intelligently. See what I will do. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. You know, I keep telling you, heart rate. We are pumping the heart rate. Come on. All the things that can take your heart rate up. That's what I'm trying to do. This one, you do this one. I'm out to buy goods and I tried yesterday. Come on. Come on. I want to tell you something. Nutrition is key. Sleep is vital. And make sure you move. Don't stay sedimentary. And make sure you eat fiber. I've noticed that people don't eat fiber. If you are not happy yesterday, that means there's a problem. Even though you are not eating, that means you are fasting. Anything you can do today, just because we won yesterday. We are still doing that cardiovascular system exercises. I feel like going to Morocco. Yeah. Hey, they did this one yesterday. When the students pass the ball to who? To that guy. Who be that guy? The guy, you do like this. Go. Yeah, that's the only matter. I just want to do some cardiovascular system exercises. All of them follow. You know this one? You know this one, old school. Jumping jack. High knee. I thought as much. They have given me the signal. But don't toss it down because we are still on. And continue to pray for Super Eagles. I'll send this one to them. Don't toss it down. The game, the Sunday show continues.
You are the lion of Judah. You are the lion of Judah. You are the miracle working. You are the God of Elijah. You are the God of Ezekiel. You are the God of Moses. I got my hallelujah. I got my hallelujah. Ijelemo, 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 Lion of Judah. Ijelemo, Agune Jemba. Ijelemo, Holy Ghost power. Ijelemo, Jesus Christ. Ijelemo, Almighty God. I got my hallelujah. I got my hallelujah. Ije. Oh ya chukuna Gaza. Oh ya chukuna Gaza. Yahweh, hey Yahweh, you are the God where they fight for me. You are the God where they fight for me. The fire for Ozagiaza. The fire for Ozagiaza. Yahweh, hey Yahweh, you are the God where they fight for me. You are the God where they fight for me. Anya biabago mawe lobi Chineke na nabatanyo nde wono pom kani nako we lobi Chineke na nabatanyo nde wono anya biabago mawe lobi Chineke na nabatanyo nde wono pom kani nako we lobi Chineke na nabatanyo Ijelemo 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 Lion of Judah Ijelemo Agune Jemba Ijelemo Holy Ghost power Ijelemo Jesus Christ Ijelemo Almighty God I got me hallelujah I got my hallelujah Ije Odogwa Kataka Otu anya na suna bego Chukwuoma Omembike gwụrụ mmadụ ọbata ụna dị mma Omembike gwụrụ dibịa
My people. All Right, welcome back. This is still the Sunday show. If you are just joining us, well, you're a bit late, but not to worry. There's still plenty of activities and information going down on the show. All right, we had T-Fit earlier, and he gave us the fitness moves while still being in celebration over the match the Super Eagles of Nigeria won yesterday at the ongoing AFCON. All right, so moving on. We are moving on to the theme of today, or when I call it a theme, it's part of the theme for today, and it's still focused on marriage, the pros and cons of prenups. Yes, prenups. I know when some people hear about prenups, they think, man, maybe the man does not love the woman enough, or they feel the man has ulterior motives and all that. Some feel it's necessary for protection. Let's see what this insert has to say about prenups in marriage, the pros and cons.
Given the rate of divorce in recent times, the essence and acceptance of prenuptial agreement is gathering momentum.
It's a written contract enter into before marriage or a civil union coming together to enable them to select and control the legal rights they acquire upon marrying and what happens when their marriage eventually breaks up by death or divorce.
Introducing a prenup into a relationship can have an emotional impact on that relationship as it is a sensitive topic that can potentially create tension or discomfort between partners.
It's a very emotional topic for so many people because when they are thinking prenup, they're already thinking possibilities of the marriage ending. But it's a reality we have to face. So I always advise, do it with an open mind and be prepared for whatever will happen.
All efforts to speak to a couple proved abortive as they are bounded by strict confidentiality policy.
Now, confidentiality for me is one of the very major characteristics of a prenup. You can't joke with it because if you disclose the details of the prenuptial agreement without the consent of the husband or the wife, it may create some problems in the marriage.
The potential complexity of drafting a prenup is surrounded by misconceptions and fears.
There's a lot of misconception about it. Like one of them is that it's for rich couples. It's not for the wealthy people. Any couple can benefit from it. It's also one of them is also that it's mostly for those who have assets. No, it's not only for those who have assets. One of them is also that it's expensive. Prenup is cheap compared to what you go through litigation, trying to fight for divorce, your claims and all that. It could last long into years and months and with those emotional pain. So prenup, if it's well done with a good lawyer and properly, is cheaper. Another misconception is that it's a sign of weak relationship. It's not. In drafting prenup, you have to sit down and discuss your finances, your finances, how you're going to do things, and these are key things you need in communication in a good relationship.
Discussing prenuptial agreements can sometimes be uncomfortable and can create tension between partners.
Now, the first challenge is consent. Now, both parties most times do not want it. I always find out that one party is pushing for it most of the time. Now, the second challenge I would say is the religious aspect of a prenuptial agreement. There is always a religious kickback. You know, you would hear parties say, either one of the parties or even both parties sometimes will say that my religion does not permit me to think of a divorce even before I'm entering marriage. Another challenge is that it helps parties consider a possibility that my marriage may not last forever. Now, I don't want to get to that point where if there are issues between me and my partner, or if my partner dies before me, I don't want to start thinking of what will happen to my assets.
One benefit of a prenup is that it can provide a sense of security and clarity in case of divorce or separation.
Everyone tends to know what they are entitled to. So, and then it will help you even in the relationship to know what to do. You're not afraid of what if something happened, maybe a situation where somehow maybe another woman shows up and then you're like, what is going to be the lot of me and my children? No. So there's financial clarity. There's protection of separate property. Separate property are properties that you already have before coming into marriage. And then when you are drafting the prenup, you can decide to say, these are my family inheritance. These are businesses that are not coming into this marriage.
It helps parties mutually decide what they want for their marriage. Now, I'm saying this as a major benefit because if you don't make this decision before the marriage and your marriage ends up in divorce, it will be challenging to start making those decisions at the point of a divorce.
It is advised that prenuptial conversations are approached with empathy and open communication. Remember, every relationship is unique and it is crucial to prioritize honesty and respectful communications when discussing sensitive topics like prenuptial agreement. Seek legal advice to ensure the agreement is fair and legal.
All right, welcome back to the Sunday show. That was an interesting clip. I'm not sure what your opinions are on that video. Maybe there might be varying or contrasting opinions on it. Well, I'll keep my own opinion about it to myself. Maybe later I can talk about it. All right, our guest for today is around. She's a family life therapist and a developmental psychologist, Mrs. Itunoluwa Onifade. Good to have you in the studio today.
It's my pleasure to be here, sir.
Well, before we go into all that, first of all, I must comment on your outfit.
Thank you.
It's a very lovely looking outfit.
Thank you.
You need to plug us up too. Let's shine the way you're shining.
All right.
All right. So today we're talking marriage.
Yeah.
Healing before marriage, dealing with trauma. What does dealing with trauma before marriage? What does it entail?
Okay, so I'm so glad to be here, and this is a topic I would, like to talk about, all day. Now, so let's start with marriage being an institution, and it's not just an institution. Marriage is an institution that actually really situated within the bigger institution, family system. And when we talk about family system, of course, it's an agent of civilization. Is an agent, is a culture shaper, and it's an institution that actually really gives birth, or is a unit of so many other institutions in the society. We talk about education, we talk about media, we talk about religion, we talk about government and everything. Every individual comes from a family. And so if we want to talk about dealing with trauma or healing before getting into marriage, simply means that before we can have awesome individuals in our society today, then that means that individual must be given birth to by two awesome individuals. So, but the reverse is the case, because so many people actually really enter into marriage without really being healed. And when we talk about healing, it's not necessarily because trauma. So what is trauma? Trauma is a deep emotional response to a disturbing experience that overwhelms one's capacity to cope. Now, most of these trauma things happen while growing up, childhood experiences, bringing, not necessarily because they are not in quotes in a safe environment, but because probably maybe they are in an environment whereby there are not adults. The adults in the environment are not whole enough to actually really help them to deal with the experiences they are going through. And because children depend so much on the matured adults in the family institution to actually really grow awesomely. So now, if you can hear me clearly, I'm already talking about two things now.
Yeah.
Yes, so I'm talking about childhood experiences, while people actually really grow up with their childhood, trauma. Trauma most majorly happen in childhood because children are actually really growing up and they don't have the emotional capacity to actually make sense of events happening in their environment, so much that they depend on the matured adults in the environment to actually really make sense of it, to co-regulate their emotions. So why healing before marriage is necessary is because now, if people carry unhealed trauma that they are bringing in from childhood into marriage institutions, two things are happening. They will eventually bleed on their spouses, and they will bleed on the offspring that they are bringing forth into the family. So what happens? The cycles continues. The cycles continue. So heal before marriage means that people let go of the baggages they are bringing in from their family of origin, and attend to their emotional readiness, to their awesomeness, such that when they are giving birth to their offspring, they are giving birth with awesomeness. They are transferring awesome, and they are not transferring their trauma into their offspring. And so, and this happens, so I was like, okay, so let's just make sense of what trauma really means in time.
Yeah.
So trauma is, just like I said the other time, trauma is a deep emotional response to a disturbing experience which affects or overwhelms one's capacity to cope. And so two people can experience a similar event, an event can happen to two people. One person can get traumatized, and then the another person will not get traumatized. Why? Because there are other factors affecting that. So how do we decode trauma? Okay, trauma happens not because of the events that happen. Just like I said, that it's not about the events, because many people look at the events that happen that is so traumatizing. Maybe accidents happen, loss of a loved one, grief, natural disasters, or probably maybe flood, people being displaced, loss of a job, sexual abuse, especially, of course, one of the most common trauma events in childhood. These are some of the things that happen. So people actually really look at, oh, the big events that happen. No. What makes trauma really, really traumatizing for people is actually the context of the trauma. So take, for instance, probably maybe someone lose maybe a loved one while growing up. Now, what is the context of the trauma? What determines the context of the trauma is whether the 3 core emotional needs of a child is met while he is growing up. So it's not a matter of whether a lot of things are happening in the environment. Now, leaning inward, the environment a child is growing up with is a core emotional need of love being met. And core emotional needs, the 3 core emotional needs, the need for safety, the need for boundary, and the need for love. Now, these are the contexts that actually really determine whether someone will be traumatized or not. And I must be very, very sincere with you. It actually requires skills, it requires the skillfulness of a matured parent to be able to actually really provide that core needs. Everybody wants to be like, oh, I want to provide for my for the physical needs of my child. They need to go to school, they need to wear good clothes, they need to eat well, which is very lovely. But what actually really transfer into whether a child will grow up into an awesome individual is whether their 3 core emotional needs are met. The need for love, the need for safety, and the need for boundaries. When these 3 core emotional needs are met, when disturbing events are happening on the outside, what happens? They have something to lean in back, something like, we call it holding, like a space they can lean inward to and say, oh, I have a safe place here. No matter what happened in the environment, I am loved. I am safe here. And of course, there is a boundary around me. When those 3 core emotional needs are met, then the nervous system will not be dysregulated when the events are happening. So let's paint a picture here so that I will bring it home.
Okay.
So let's take a bottle for, of course, I don't know, maybe of course you are familiar with this half-filled cup. When we have a bottle and it's filled to the brim.
Yeah.
Now, when we shake the bottle, when there is a shaking on the outside, what happens? The content in the bottle will not shake because the bottle is filled to the brim. It's filled and it's
okay.
tightly covered.
Yeah.
But if it is probably maybe half filled, or is filled but it is not full, what happens
there's no
when
space
I'm
for it to
shaking
move
it on?
around. Yeah.
This content in itself will also be shaking.
Yeah.
That is what actually really make people really traumatized, because so let's say the emotional bank of a growing child is not really filled up. So when events are happening on the outside, similarly, so we said disturbing experience, right?
Yeah.
When a disturbing experience really happens on the outside and it's shaking the individual, because the content of the disturbing experience is not filled up. So when we talk about the emotional bank of the child is not filled up, what happens? The person is actually really is actually really disturbed on the internal. And as human beings, we are wired to be stable, to be in a healing mood, to be we call it homeostatics, like to be in a balanced state. In a balanced state. And when there is stress outside, there is a natural wiring for us to actually be able to cope with an acute stress. And the brain produces hormone like cortisol, and just to deal with acute stress, not so much. But when the stress on the outside is so much that is more than the ability of that growing individual to cope with, the brain constantly produces that stress hormone. Oh, we are in danger, we are not safe here. We are in danger, we are not safe here. And so that shifts the system from being balanced to being dysregulated. And a lot of people, carry. Of course, there are researchers that say, like, okay, 1 out of 3 persons is actually really carrying trauma into adulthood.
Oh, sorry. I feel one of the core aspects of this discussion would be identification of trauma. I mean, I feel I've seen instances where full-grown adults don't know that they are still carrying childhood trauma.
Yeah.
And a lot of times, such adults go into marriage without the knowledge that they are carrying childhood trauma. So, as an individual or as a couple in marriage, how do we identify that trauma is present in any individual?
Okay, so I'm going to answer that question in 2 ways.
Okay.
One of the ways by which you can actually really identify whether you have been traumatized is what we call self-awareness, going into deep reflections about some of the events that has happened to you in the past.
Okay.
What are the things that have happened to me, the events that has happened to me that significantly really marked my life. So we can start from probably maybe was there loss of a loved one while growing up? Was there an incident of bullying? Was there emotional neglect? Because sometimes people look at events, so it's not only about what really happened to you while growing up. Trauma also happens when things that are supposed to happen to you did not happen. In case of emotional neglect, parentification is that a child that was still supposed to be dependent on their parent were parentified early enough, like they were made to assume the position of an adult while growing up.
Sorry, Mrs. Winifade.
Okay.
This is obviously a very interesting topic, but we need to go on a short break.
All right.
All right, we need to go on a short break now. When we come back, we'll continue with exactly where we stopped, identification of trauma. Please stay tuned.
Reliable, long-lasting and accurate weighing solutions in Nigeria. Weighbridge and Skills Services Limited is your trusted partner in consultancy, maintenance, fabrication and installation of digital weighbridges across Nigeria. Introducing the Nigerian Magic Weighbridge, proudly fabricated right here in Lagos, rugged, durable and built to withstand the harsh conditions of Nigeria and Africa, while maintaining international standards. With 1-year warranty, expert support and unmatched reliability, we deliver exactly what your operations need whether for logistics, agriculture, manufacturing, or transport. Call us today on 0803 933 9842 or 0802 940 6275 or email oyelesitola@gmail.com. Weybridge and Skill Services Limited. Precision you can trust.
Hi everyone, this is Ida Emmanuel Chibike, and we are right here in Great John Bosco Nigeria Limited. It's located in 48 Tedosho Road, right here in Suliri, Lagos. Are you an interior designer, an architect, a builder, and you actually looking for a place to get your furnitures and also quality fabrics like curtains for your homes? Great John Bosco is actually one of the best places to get that. We are situated here in Lagos, Nigeria, right here in Tedosho, and we have branches in Abuja and also on the island, that's in Lekki Phase 1. We have from the ranges of Turkish fabrics, American fabrics, Italian fabrics, and what have you. We have them in different categories and in different collections. You can also check us online. We are active online on our social media handles. Our Instagram handle is actually Great John Bosco, and also on Facebook at Great John Bosco. This is Great John Bosco Nigeria Limited, your one-stop shop for all interior needs. Don't hesitate to come by our store here in Todiosho, which is the main head office, to see quality designs and fabrics for your need.
Hey!
Hi!
What makes Checkers Custard unique to you?
Come with me, I'll show you. For me, Checkers Custard is the heart of our home. Creamy, smooth, and ready in minutes. The easiest way to bring my family together.
For me, it's the great taste. Made from the finest ingredients, Checkers Custard is amazing, velvety, and simply top quality.
Yes! Checkers Custard is so smooth and nutritious. And look, I even added my favorite fruits.
Checkers Custard, it's my lifesaver. Quick, convenient, and always tasty. Perfect for my busy mornings.
One custard, so many reasons to love it.
Checkers. Now that's custard.
Eshi adúpẹ́ o. Dalono ndewono. We say thank you.
Here's wishing you a happy, peaceful, and prosperous New Year.
Happy New Year, everyone. God bless you.
NTA 10, Station for Excellence.
All right, still the Sunday Show. Thank you for staying tuned. The Sunday Show is brought to you by Checkers, makers of Checkers Custard. Checkers, they have a variety of products. You have the Checkers 3-in-1. That's the one where there's already sugar and milk. You don't have to add anything. They have the Checkers Vanilla, the Checkers Vanilla Banana, and they also have the Checkers Choco Tea. Checkers Choco Tea. Lovely products, very tasty, I must tell you. All right, we are still with Mrs. Onifade. She's a family life therapist, a developmental psychologist, and we are on a very interesting topic, dealing with trauma, healing before marriage, dealing with trauma. Before we break, she was telling us about identifying trauma, how we can identify the symptoms, the signs of trauma before marriage or even in marriage. Mrs. Onifade, please tell us more about identification of trauma.
Okay, so identification of trauma can come like in two ways. The first one is examining what has happened to you in the past, looking at the major events that really marked your life while you were growing up into adulthood. And there is actually like a self-checklist online, like adverse childhood events that people can actually relate. So you begin to rate it, say yes or no. Did these events happen to me? It's just 10 questions. Did these events happen to me while growing up? Like, were you abused while growing up? Did you lose someone you love while growing up? Did you experience a natural maybe disaster Were you displaced? Did you experience maybe sexual, physical, or emotional abuse? Did any adult in your life, abuse you emotionally or physically? When it comes to this place, a lot of people be like, in this Nigeria, who will not abuse you emotionally? That a lot of people are really, really, emotional, because we get used to, or we get normalized to this thing. Does not make it actually really a norm or something that should be normalized in family. People shouldn't be.
Okay.
Okay.
Sorry. Talking about Nigerians, I think this is a nice time to let our viewers know that the phone lines are open. The phone lines are open. The number should be displayed on the screen. You can reach us on 081-6755-1539. I repeat, 081-6755-1539. You can call in if you have questions or contributions to the topic we are talking about. Please go ahead.
Okay, so emotional abuse, or did anyone in the family, did you grow up with anyone in the family that suffered, mental health, or did your father or your mother, struggle with addiction? Was he an alcoholic, or did he struggle with addiction to substance abuse while growing up? So these are actually some of the questions. So if you score above, between 5 and above on the adverse childhood, self checklist, that means you are really struggling with trauma. The second way to actually really look at whether you are trauma, which of course I would really...
Can you repeat that? If you score 5 and above on...
Yes, on adverse childhood experiences.
Okay, adverse childhood experiences.
Is a self checklist.
Okay.
You can actually really browse on it. It's everywhere on the internet. And when you score above average on the, is actually is a 10 question self checklist. Okay. So if you score above 5, so that means you are actually really carrying on heat trauma that really needs you to probably maybe call for therapist, okay, or go through some self-reflection to actually really make you to get embark on healing journey. Okay. Then the second way is what is currently happening to you, because trauma is not visible to the eye, but it's has some trees like cues everywhere. Okay. And one of the things that happens is examining, going into some kind of self-reflection exercise and begin to happen, because sometimes trauma is not even sometimes trauma is stored in the body as stress, and so major outcomes of trauma is probably maybe sleep disturbances. Some people complain, oh, I can't sleep, I struggle to sleep, that's insomnia. Mm-hmm. Then the second one is depression. When people actually come to a place of numbness, they cannot emotionally feel, they cannot really feel the emotions they are having. So there are so many outcomes of trauma: depression, anxiety, always feeling uptight, having heart palpitation. Any single thing actually really triggers you to do something, always anxious about the future or something that has gone in the past, not really staying present in the now and here. That is anxiety. Palpitation, heart palpitation, people complain about migraine, panic attacks. So these are outcomes of trauma because it is stored in the body. Another one is when people struggle with addiction. So addiction is also an outcome of unhealed trauma, because there is a void they are trying to fill. So it could be with alcohol, with hard drugs, like different kind of hard drugs that you can think of, morphines, opiates, tramadol, different. Because I've worked in an addiction field and I know that majority of these addiction cases are actually really an outcome of trauma. So I've mentioned depression, anxiety, sleep, inability to probably maybe have enough sleep, not necessarily because you don't have sleep time. When you wake up, when you don't really feel rested, that's an indication of a dysregulated nervous system coming from trauma. Then so so many other outcomes, but these are few ones that people be. So sometimes we just need to, and then relationships. Relationship, so because we are talking about healing before marriage, so relationship, maybe you have developed, maybe somebody has developed avoidance attachment with people, really avoiding people, not being able to develop a deep, intimate relationship with people that I'm not necessarily talking about the context of marriage now, but having to be able to relate with people without misjudging their intentions, without assuming that this is what they intend to do for you, without misjudging the context of the relationship. So relationship problems actually, when you are having, when a person is having serious issues,
Are we talking about romantic relationships?
It can actually be romantic relationship or any type of relationship, workplace, relationship. When people often complain that this person is, is a narcissist, it does not even necessarily have to develop into, some personality disorder, but inability to, relate well with people, anxious about relationship, people pleasing, relationship. These are some of the things that really transfer into, relationship issues, or probably avoiding, spaces with people, just wanting to be alone, isolating themselves from, people that matter to them. These are actually cues or outcomes of trauma that actually really need to be dealt with before entering. And if eventually probably maybe you get married, these are some issues that we need to actually really look into.
Okay, there's something bothering me that I need to ask,
All
but
right.
please, I'll need to ask that question after this break. We're going on a break now. We'll be back shortly.
Do you need hotel service that runs hospitality business as real business? Then look no further, because Suru Express Hotels is readily available to meet your hotel accommodation needs in a cozy and serene atmosphere. Courtesy and care greet your arrival at our front desk while you're checking out our various rooms, suites, deluxe, standard and express gold, all fitted for purpose you desire. Healthy nutrition is also a top priority at our tastefully organized restaurants in Suru Express Hotels. With our ultra-modern gymnasium, maintaining your fitness is guaranteed in a conducive atmosphere. To unwind and reduce stress, our world-class standard swimming pool and game centers are always available. We are strategically located in Surulere, Ikeja GRA, Ikorodu, to provide unparalleled hospitality and free parking and top-notch security. A choice of any Suru Express hotel is a choice made with wisdom.
Ha! I go need to go. My children they ask for pap, and I just buy the corn. It go take 3 days to finish the pap.
No dey stress yourself at all. See pap wey you go just prepare in 2 minutes. I just buy am for market sef.
No be this one o. Make I show una. This na Checkers pap. The taste na something wey my family love.
Checkers custard pap 3 in 1. They make Checkers custard pap flavor from corn, milk, and sugar. Make you just add hot boiling water, turn am, and it done ready. No stress. Now you can enjoy smooth pap for your house.
Thank you, Mommy.
Checkers is my new joy. Oh, gigidi. Akamukankwe. Oh, for correct.
Checkers custard pap flavor 3 in 1. Tasty pap, easy pap.
I am Odupe Oyewumi, the General Manager of NTA Lagos Channel. I want to use this opportunity to thank our esteemed clients, partners and viewers for doing business with us in year 2025. Let's do more together this year. Happy New Year, everyone. God bless you.
NTA 10, Station for Excellence.
All right, welcome welcome back. If you're just joining us, this is the Sunday show. We have a family life therapist in the studio with us, Mrs. Itunolua Onifade, and we've been talking about dealing with trauma, especially before marriage. I was about to ask her a very interesting question before the break. So, Mrs. Onifade, we have a lot of people, adults, who believe that they do not have any sort of trauma. They believe they were trained well when they were children, and they believe they were brought up properly in the way they're supposed to be brought up. How do such people eventually identify the presence of trauma in their lives?
Okay, so let me also start by saying that because a lot of people be like, we turned out okay.
Yes. That's the language.
Yes.
I turned out okay.
I turned out okay.
Yeah.
I'm living well and I'm doing well. But our highest goal is not to actually look at, oh, I'm okay, I'm good. I have a family of my own now. I'm earning money, I'm doing job. Are you actually really thriving? It's not a matter of, oh, I'm in the surviving mode. Am I really thriving? Am I really actually at the pace, at the development? Have I really achieved my career milestones? Have I really match up to the exact space that I need to be? Because we know that, I don't know, maybe you've heard of outflyers before. Outflyers, maybe just 1% of every population really gets to that stage of being an outflyer and be like, oh, this person is actually really exceptional from the whole population. But it's not meant to be. When we are talking about outflyer, we actually really need to be talking about the 99% of the population. But it's not so, because people are carrying a lot of. So when we are talking about trauma is more or less like something that actually really masking your identity from thriving, from being who you are, carrying that potentials and unleashing it into the society and being that person that you need to be. So it's not a matter of, oh, I turned out okay, I'm going to job and earning. And how do you know that? So in the context of growing up, it's not about, oh, my parents were able to provide what I need. They actually really disciplined and we turned out okay. Were your 3 core emotional needs met? And what we actually really determine whether these 3 core emotional needs will be met is that, are your parents skilled enough to meet these needs? Because while growing up, we depend so much on our parents, not just to provide for our physical needs, not just to, help us go through our education, and all of that, but we also depend on them in meeting our 3 core emotional needs: the need for love, the need for safety, and the need for boundaries. So let's come to the need for love. The need for love is when you are in a space where you are loved, not for what you have achieved, but for who you are. We call it unconditional love. So I have a growing child with me. I don't just love her because she has done something, she had straight A's in her exams and all of those things. I love that just because of who she is, or for who he is. And when these core emotional needs are met, the person will actually really grow into believing in their identity, not necessarily what is happening on the external. So external means that, oh, I have batched my PhD degree and I have my MSc. That is actually really masking who a person is on the inside. Are those achievements good? Yes. But if we misconstrue it for being loved, that is why people are going into what we call, codependency relationship, people pleasing, no inability to exert themselves, inability to say no and everything. Why? Because while growing up, they were loved for what they did, not for who they are. There's a difference between the two. Loving you for who you are, or loving you for what you have done. So when you don't do something that pleases me, which you will not do always all the time, like you cannot do what will please your parents all the time, do I still love you as my child? Second one is safety. Do I grow up in an environment whereby there is safety enough for me to be vulnerable? You know the innocence of a growing child. They just express themselves innocently. A child can be here now, scattering everything, not caring, not being cautious of, oh, somebody is seeing me. Would they say I'm doing it well? That safety actually helps preserve the curiosity, the ability to create, the ability to innovate, the ability to grow up to be like, I am safe in this place. And that safety will help them to also develop a safe place internally, not externally. The third one, which is very critical now, the need for boundaries. Ability to say no to bad things, and ability to say yes to good things. Ability to create boundaries, like a personal space, emotionally now, not physically. Ability to say, I can say no, I can say yes when I can choose to say no to you, and I can choose to say yes, but not to people, but ability to also say yes to me, to myself, developing good habits, ability to say no. So sometimes, because I've worked with in an addiction field for the past 7 years now, I know that majority of people that are addicted to substances, gambling, all of those sorts, is because their core emotional need for boundaries were not met. So when people say we turned out okay, in what sense? In a sense whereby, are you really thriving? Are you really unleashing your potentials to the society? Are you contributing meaningfully and impacting your society and your circle of influence in a measure that you're supposed to? Or are you inhibited with fear, anxiety, depression, inability to move, inability to do things? So when we are analyzing this trauma, then you begin to look at this core emotional needs really met while I was growing up. If they are not met, then there are issues to be resolved.
Okay, the way our society is, in recent times, the way our society is structured, most people are not encouraged to talk about their childhood traumas.
Okay.
Especially the men. They will say, be a man. Why are you crying like a woman? We're encouraged to bottle up whatever it is we are feeling inside. So what do you think, or what steps do you think can be taken to encourage people to talk more about what they experienced as children, the traumas they've been made to pass through while growing up? What are the steps you think we can take to encourage people to speak out more?
Okay, so one of the first things is to actually really normalize the fact that everyone, so we may not generalize it, but most people have actually really gone through some overwhelming events that have really overwhelmed their capacity to cope. So normalizing it means that it's okay sometimes not to be okay. It's okay not to be okay. And when you just need to, the first approach to any trauma healing is self-awareness. Being vulnerable with yourself and being sincere. In my book, I actually try to simulate a therapeutic experience before marriage. So even before approaching any therapy, when you pick the book, you are able to go into a self-reflection journey. I asked a lot of questions in that book, trying to say, okay, sit down in a quiet place and begin to ask yourself, what happened to you while growing up?
Okay.
And what is happening to you currently?
So you have a book coming up?
It's already out.
It's already out, okay.
Yes.
I needed that clarified.
Yes.
Okay, what was the title of the book?
Heal Before Marriage.
Heal Before Marriage,
yes.
Okay. And all these questions?
Exactly, all of those questions are in the book.
Okay.
So I try to simulate a therapeutic experience in that book, Heal Before Marriage. So answering 3 questions. What happened to me in the past? So there you begin to ask that questions using the ACE checklist, Advanced Childhood Experiences checklist, where you can begin to sit down with yourself, even without anybody saying, oh, come, let me, come for therapy. You've asked that question. The second aspect is, what is happening to me right now? So that means leaning inward, checking your body, checking your experiences over time. What is happening to me? So those questions examine the outcomes of trauma. Then how am I going to approach this outcomes in my life going forward. And sometimes, of course, when maybe some people, of course, we experience degrees of trauma. It actually varies from one family to the other. Some people actually really experience severe trauma because it's on a continuum. When I mean continuum, is that some people might actually have experienced mild trauma, moderate, and severe. So depending on the severity of trauma, some people actually really need intense therapy.
Wow, it's been lovely having you today, Mrs. Onifade.
Thank you.
This topic is really broad, it's extensive,
Yes.
and I wish you would come back, so that we can continue and more people can be enlightened on dealing with trauma and identifying trauma. All right. It's been lovely having Mrs. Onifade, Mrs. Itunlua Onifade in the studio, and today she really enlightened us on dealing with childhood trauma before marriage, even in romantic relationships as well. She enlightened us, and unfortunately, we don't have much time on our hands. We had to talk about it to the extent of the time we had available. But the Sunday show will be back again next week, same time, 1:30 p.m. on your darling station, NTA Channel 10. From today, it was lovely having Mrs. Onifade in the studio today. I'm sure we all learned one or two. By next week, I hope we'll be around, we are available to tune into the station to continue. The Sunday show is always packed. We always have lovely topics like this. We always go into depth, things that people don't really like to talk about outside, things that people don't really like to talk about in the streets. We talk about them here. All right, but it was lovely having everyone around today. My director, my producers, my cameramen, a big shout out to you guys. Thank you, everyone. It's been lovely it's been a wonderful show today. Remain blessed, everyone.
Okay.